My name is Squadron Leader Ruth Shackleton and I am presently the Team Manager for the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows. The Red Arrows is the most famous display team in the world. Their full title is the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team. It was founded in 1964 and it was a culmination of 3 different display teams. The team as a whole, it consists of 120 personnel, and that is made up of 9 display pilots, a commentator, photographers, logisticians, engineers, administrators, and we are fairly self-contained in order so that we can perform in over 10 countries around the world each year. Our display season begins in May and it continues till October. Predominantly our displays are in the United Kingdom, however we do tours abroad, and in 2013 we toured 10 countries throughout the Middle East in a period of 35 days. The displays are a series of formations and manoeuvres that last in the region of 20 minutes. The first half of a display is sweeping formations made up of 9 aircraft. The second half of the display is a lot more dynamic and a lot more fast-paced, and that's where you'll get the synchro pair and the mid-air manoeuvres that you almost think they're going to touch. We are famous for the display. People try and replicate us throughout the world. The pilots are indeed the very finest pilots that the Royal Air Force have. There is very few people that could fly in such close proximity at such high speeds, and so they are extremely professional in what they do, and it takes an awful lot of practice and dedication to get to that level. They've generally been in the Air Force up to 11 to 12 years. They have had to have flown 1,500 fast jet flying hours. They have to be above average, which sounds very ordinary, but I can assure you that it's the very best we have. My role in the Red Arrows is that I'm the team manager. That involves me being responsible for everything non-flying related. So if you can envisage moving a display team of this size around both the UK and abroad, it takes an awful lot of logistics and coordination. That is one of my roles. I am also responsible for the marketing and PR aspects of the team, and I also am the corporate liaison for all our corporate sponsors. It is a very broad role. No 2 days are the same. Some days I might be speaking to the royal household, other days I'm speaking to school children. It is from the strategic to the operations to the tactical levels, and it's a huge, very, very demanding role, and I'm very privileged to be able to do it. Many people would want to be in the role I'm in. I take it extremely seriously, and I think it's a great honour to both represent my country, the Royal Air Force, and to be part of such a famous team that is renowned throughout the world. And no matter what gender, what race, what nationality, people have heard of the Red Arrows. And it's rather like a Red London bus, or it's rather like the Queen. We're a British institution, and to be the team manager for that institution is a once in a lifetime. I suppose my career to date has been quite unusual in terms of my gender, because I've normally taken on roles normally associated with men. However, it's not precluded me from doing anything. My first role was as a flight attendant with an airline, which of course is very female orientated. But I decided at the age of 24 that I'd like to join the Royal Air Force. It's about 10% of the Air Force is female, and you are included in everything. And so despite people's thoughts on the military, it's a very equal and fair employer. And as such, I've done many roles that men normally do. I suppose I was a bit of a tomboy whilst growing up. I liked cars, I liked Lego, I like everything associated with boys. But no, I joined the Combined Cadet Force when I was 16 as part of the Royal Air Force Cadets, and that was pretty unusual. I was the first female cadet at my school to do that, and it was a really interesting, exciting challenge. Not only did we get to fly and do aerobatics, but we did a lot of field craft too, and that really exposed me to the military for the first time. I became a flight attendant really, truly, because I wanted to travel and explore the world and get into the world of work. My friends had all gone to university intent on pursuing a further academic study. I knew that was not for me, and I wanted to explore and do something very different. So I ended up working for a Middle Eastern airline, which exposed me to an extremely different culture, of course very different between the genders in that part of the world. I absolutely loved it, and I had a marvellous time exploring over 2,000 hours flying in over 3 years. My lifestyle differs from that of my friends and colleagues in that by my age, normally you're settling down to have a family, you're maybe becoming a bit more stable, you're settling in the one region and area. Of course, my job, I've moved 13 times in as many years, and each job has been very different in a different part of the country or the world. And so you're rather like a hobo. You're like a rolling stone, and you never quite know where your next role is going to be. This is particularly prevalent in this role because we do a lot of displays all around the country and all around the world, and it necessitates me being the team manager to arrange that for the team. So I end up on the road a great deal. I go to a lot of meetings all over the country, and when we go on tour, I'm in the thick of it arranging that too. So you sleep in a lot of different beds and hotels, you meet an awful lot of different people, and I guess it's very much career orientated, my lifestyle, as opposed to some who've chosen to stay at home. I don't truly feel that there should be gender orientation in the job role you choose. I believe male and females have equally as many strengths and weaknesses. I feel if you're determined enough and you work hard enough and you set your mind to something bad enough, I think you can achieve almost anything. I never dreamt that when I started as a flight attendant with an airline that I'd end up being the team manager for the most famous display team in the world. I've never experienced any negative attitudes towards me in the roles I've chosen. I've always been taken as an equal. It is a male-orientated world, certainly in the military, but that's only spurred me on and challenged me further, because I believe that women are equally talented and can perform equally well in these roles, but you have to want it bad enough, and you've really got to do the business. And it's not always easy, because sometimes you face challenges, it's uncomfortable, your private life suffers, your home life, it's tiring, you're in dangerous situations potentially, but you've only got one shot at life and you've got to live it. And that's always been the way I've tried to live my life.